The Clone Wars finale showed us that Ahsoka was left without lightsabers after Order 66. However, what we see in the Rebel series years later is Ahsoka wielding two katana-looking lightsabers, and the design is heavily inspired by the actual katana swords. Nonetheless, we see her wield both of these lightsabers with white blades emanating from them in the Rebel series. She fights the Inquisitors with both of these lightsabers and even Darth Vader. So the question of course is, how did she come upon both of these lightsabers after she lost the two that she had in the 7th Clone Wars season? As you well know, after the starship crashed on the unknown moon, Ahsoka Tano and Rex faked their deaths so that the Empire would not persecute them. What Ahsoka did is leave one single lightsaber behind, and the other lightsaber is unknown. 1 year later though, Ahsoka would need lightsabers once again. Her exile was on the moon Rada, and unfortunately the Inquisitor, the sixth brother, had been sent to Rada and was holding the Kadeen hostage. With this, Ahsoka had no choice but to build new lightsabers, having already realized what components she had been collecting would fit together to make both of these new ones. The one thing she needed though is new kyber crystals. Ahsoka traveled to the unknown regions planet of Elum, where the Jedi had harvested their crystals for millennia. The sad part though was that she found out the Empire had begun strip mining the planet and was forced to hide further out in the system so that she could not be spotted. What she did is she started meditating in the Force to look where the Force might guide her to find these new crystals, and this is where the Force pointed her back to the moon Rada. Once there, she not only helped evacuate the moon's population, but she finally confronted the sixth brother. Ahsoka easily defeated the unprepared Inquisitor, killing him by accident when she pulled on the crystals in his double-bladed spinning lightsaber with the Force and caused the weapon to explode. Ahsoka then took the kyber crystals housed within the deceased Inquisitor's lightsaber, which had been calling out to her. She noted that the crystal had been turned red through the practice known as bleeding. Realizing that the crystals were meant to be hers, she purified them back to the light side of the Force, and in the process she turned these crystals into pure white, and thus she finally had everything she needed. Ahsoka assembled herself two new lightsabers from the components she had collected, as well as the specialized crystal mountings from the Inquisitor's lightsaber. She noted that the hilts were rather rough, but had no time to make them more functional. Assisting in the evacuation of Rada, Ahsoka leapt into battle with her new weapons, rescuing the Kadeen people from where they had been imprisoned, getting the locals to retreat into evacuations ships that were sent by Bail Organa. Afterwards, Ahsoka met on the Tantive 3 as she not only showed Organa her new weapons, but took up the official position of Fulcrum in order to improve the Rebels' communications. Preceding this is the Rebel series, where we see Ahsoka wielding both of these lightsabers and how bittersweet it was to face off against the other Inquisitors, seeing that she got the crystals from one of the Inquisitors herself. The poor crystals that were taken as beams of light energy and bled to be red and then again purified by Ahsoka. That's the sad part that we should remember. These crystals suffered. The one man that was left wondering though was her former master. As I talked about in a previous video, Darth Vader got the short end of the stick. Many have wondered, what is Darth Vader thinking at this moment in time? His mannerisms and the environment itself shows us a bit of what happened in his mind during these troubling times for him, since he had to revisit the past, and as we all know, Vader is not fond of the past. We start with Vader watching over the crash, signifying the moment where he realized this is where his former apprentice ended up. Once he notices the lightsaber, however, things quickly change for Vader. He has an emotional rush, although hiding it very well. He kneels down to pick up the lightsaber. One giveaway, if you look at the animation, and this was done purposefully, is if you watch closely, Vader showed a semblance semblance of Anakin in this moment when he not only picked up the lightsaber but removed the snow with his other hand. He wanted to check and make sure that this was indeed Ahsoka's lightsaber that he gave to her all those years ago when he was still a bright-eyed Jedi, Anakin Skywalker, somebody that he wanted to forget. But it doesn't stop there. Vader in his mind wants to push his boundaries. He wants to go a step further, not only checking the hilt, but he wants to see the blade for himself, and so he ignites the lightsaber, and indeed it is a blue hue, same as it was when Ahsoka wielded them years ago during the Clone Wars, before Order 66. For Vader, this signifies the end of that relationship. Finally, he can put closure on Ahsoka's story. He and Ahsoka were now officially done, since he never got to say goodbye to his apprentice or even see her again. This would finalize his thinking. This symbolized the end between the relationship of Anakin and Ahsoka, as bittersweet and as cold as it was. Many, though, talk about this specific scene where he watches above and sees the Morai, the female convoy that bears spiritual ties with the daughter from the Mortis arc. In the Rebel series, we're led to believe that this owl would always follow Ahsoka, something that we are not yet made privy to, but there is a definite connection between Ahsoka's presence and the Morai. Things are further complicated when we see Vader's actual eyes behind his helmet, shining a glimmer of hope that Anakin might still be inside, but not today, as he quickly disengages the lightsaber. With the lightsaber turned off, Vader now is done with this situation. In his mind, Ahsoka is now dead and they can cross her off the list of Jedi survivors. He simply turns to go back without ever looking back at Ahsoka's final resting place and the resting place of his clone brothers, members of the 501st that he served with throughout the entire Clone Wars, signifying not only the end of Ahsoka and Vader, but Vader and his former clone team, brothers in arms that served the Republic until death. Talk to me down below in the comments, guys. Let me know, what do you guys think about this Ahsoka journey? You go have an awesome day, my Star Wars friends. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.